down. And good morning, Warrior Nation. Another Football Friday. Hey, it's week 10 of football here in this great state of Oklahoma. Welcome to K-Bell Game Day right here on Idabel's first 96.7 KBEL. This is Cornelius Neal. We got Coach Kincaid here live in the studio, and let's go ahead and get into it. You know, last week's loss at Chakotah ended in a bit of controversy. You know, we talked about last week. You were flagged for talking with the officiating crew after the game had ended. That's something I'd never seen before in all my years between playing and broadcasting football. Was there a ruling from the OSSAA?
Yeah, they deemed me suspended for this week, coaching in the game tonight. You know, one of those things where we could have appealed it. But, you know, we're going to show our kids that, you know, I made a mistake and I got to be held accountable. So, you know, I'm going to take that one to the chin and, you know, we'll work through it and move on.
Right. Understandable. So with you being suspended, how does that work? Are you not allowed at the stadium? I know obviously not on the field, but you're not allowed on campus, on stadium. How does that work?
Yeah, so I'll be I can be behind the fence, can't be in the press box. So, you know, I'll be around the fence, around the stadium, hanging around, watching our guys, watching our kids go compete, watching our coaches coach their butt off, and you know, go out here and compete versus Lincoln Christian tonight. Right,
and, you know, Lincoln Christian, #1 team in Class 3A. They will get into a lot of their accolades here in just a moment. But so say KB in the press box. That's hate to hear that because, you know, I think we'd had an open spot for you tonight. Aaron's going to be on his way to Oklahoma City as the Idabel cheerleaders. They have game day competition in Oklahoma City at Crossings Christian Saturday. So you won't even have cheerleaders there. So we won't have Aaron. So it'll be myself and Lonnie on the call. So that being said, how has the team handled the news?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they I won't say they had fun with it. You know, they told me I had to do my gut buster punishment, you know, our punishment that we have for getting unsportsmanlike penalties and things like that throughout the team. And so they played into it about having, you know, being held accountable. And so, you know, all this week they've just been getting prepared, you know, get Coach Howell, you know, prepared to call the plays tonight. And, you know, defensively we're fine. We're doing the same thing as always, you know, locking in with those guys. And but, you know, it's been a good week of practice. You know, they've been laser focused, locked in. You know, getting Coach T's feet wet tonight with the play calling duties. You know, he's had some sub-varsity things he's called and things like that before. But, you know, I told him, you know, it comes quick. So, you know, we put him on the clock and let him realize and look at it and go over his play sheet. And so, you know, I'm excited for this opportunity for Coach Howell and for him to grow. And this will be a good learning experience for him, you know, going into calling a game, especially if he aspires to be an OC and head coach one day. This will be good for him.
Okay. I know last week, Crew Corsi was ejected in the second quarter we know he was trying to punch the ball out, but the officials saw otherwise, which there was a lot of that last week. But will he be able to play today?
Yeah, he'll have to serve a first half suspension tonight and be able to come back after halftime. Another thing that probably could have been appealed, but, you know, admin and everybody above thought, you know, let's just hold our people accountable. You know, and, you know, let's show the state that we can hold Idabel holds their people accountable, and, you know, we're being held accountable. So me and Crew, I'll miss the whole game, and Crew missed the first half. So hopefully Crew gets in there third quarter and gets some snaps and plays some good football.
Okay. Let's see. I know we've asked about Bryce B. Is he going to be available to play today?
Yes, sir. Bryce B. is back. He's cleared from the doctor on Tuesday, so he is back and ready to go in action tonight. May see him a little bit at right guard. May see him at some nose for us tonight, actually. You know, I'm excited for Bryce B to be back. He's came back and created a jolt of energy for our program and our defensive line for sure.
Yeah, definitely can use that experience up front with Bryce B. And anybody else out due to injury or any other injuries to mention?
No, sir. I think everybody's back healthy for the most part. So we're almost 100% rolling the playoffs. Hopefully we stay like that after tonight's game and you know, rolling the playoffs 100% healthy, ready to go.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing to hope for. Get in and out of this game, win or loss, you know, no injuries, and let's get ready for next week. And we'll come back tomorrow morning and we'll know who we're going to end up playing and more likely where. I know we're going to be somewhere in the Tulsa vicinity, but where exactly that's to be determined. So on to tonight's game. Lincoln Christian, of course, they're the class of Class 3A. They've won 37 games in a row, 49 straight district victories. Also, they have won 17 consecutive road games. I watched some video on them at Eufaula, and then some of their game against Shiloh Christian. Very tall task ahead for anybody in classes 3A and even in the 4A. But what do you see with them on film?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a really disciplined team. You know, they brought back all 5 offensive linemen, starting quarterback who's coach's son, really talented kid, 2 really good running backs that they brought back, and they brought back their really good fullback. You know, they have a lot of talent over there on that team. But the one thing I like about them, they're physical. You know, and they're very disciplined and physical. So Coach Ricky's done a great job over there at Lincoln Christian with those guys, and in his 9 years there. You know, they've done a great job. You know, it's a tall task for us regardless, but, you know, if we want to consider ourselves in the upper echelon of football in the Oklahoma 3A division, then we need to, you know, go out here and compete tonight and show them.
Yeah. Notice they got a little bit of speed back there in the backfield between the running back. I think that's 12, Braden Baker, and then number 11, CJ Wright. He didn't play last week at Eufaula, but that young man is shifty, and if he gets the ball in his hands, it makes for troublesome times for the defense because he's very fast and he has some moves about him. But like I mentioned, he didn't play last week. I don't know if he's nursing an injury that he's trying to hold off until time to play in the playoffs. And like you mentioned, offense, good size and really strong. They're physical, and you can tell they definitely hit that weight room. And we also mentioned the H-back / tight end that's number 30, Logan Kelly, also a really, really good blocker. Defense, they got to make something happen, be opportunistic, force a turnover. That's help flip the field, and who knows, you may be able to turn that into 6 points immediately, depending on, we've had interception returns to touchdowns or get deep in the opponent's territory. Now, their defense, right? They operate out of a 3-4 base, correct?
No, they're 3-3-5 like us. They're in the odd stack just like us. Watching it, they do it 100% correct, man. They do it right all the time, and they have a lot of extra hours that they get to prepare for. Being that they go to school from 8 to 1 o'clock, 8 to 12:30, and then get released, and kind of can go into individual meetings, weight room, and they got a lot of extra time on their hands where they're still getting their kids off their feet. With plenty of time to go home and rest and stuff like that. But, that's just one of the advantages they have. But, it is what it is. They're in a 3-3-5 just like us. They don't stunt or blitz as much as we do. So, it'll be interesting to see how their offense handles our defense tonight, actually, just with the fact that we're going to stun and blitz them a lot. And then, we're going to have to read their backers. Their backers are really good players. They're smart. They trigger fast. Their defensive line are men amongst boys. They play hard, and they're a good defense to have to look out for.
Yeah, that nose tackle, Landon Tour, is really good player. I think we'll end up seeing him on Saturdays in the future. And he pretty much covered everything. Seems like their middle linebackers kind of bunch up on either side of the center. Is there I know there's got to be a reason that they do that. Are they looking at the quarterback and see where the play develops? Or how's that work? I noticed, especially when they played early on against Shiloh Christian.
Yeah, they do a lot of different things there, but similar to us, we'll bump our backers whether they're over the tackles or over the center or both over the guard and one walk down, and there's a lot of different things that they can do and adjust for and do some different things. But a lot of it's really just reading their keys, whether it's reading a guard or tackle. And then, play recognition. Obviously, what formation do this team like out of this? And, they know what's coming before, you call it. And so they're a good team. They're smart football players. So
yeah. And they have, like you mentioned, they had time to both mentally and physically prepare week in and week out. And, that's something that a lot of teams aren't able to do. You're in class till sometimes 2 o'clock. But, game plan stays the same. Think there may be some things that could work if you get the ball out quickly to a Jordan or a Biddy. Use the Thunder and Lightning combo with Jay Sean and Quincy Pond, and the team has given up 3 points all district play. So that should be a challenge to the offense. We get in the end zone, may get flagged for that light show because it should go until we're about ready to kick the extra point because nobody has scored a touchdown on Lincoln Christian in district play. Muldrow got a field goal out of it, but not anybody in our district has gotten the end zone over that Lincoln Christian defense. So that's definitely a challenge to the offense. And, we do get in the end zone. That's going to let folks know, hey, Idabel has something on offense. So that being said, you have any final message for Warrior Nation?
Yeah, I mean, that last home game of the season here, come out and support these kids. I know cheer's going to be gone. Good luck to them this weekend at regionals. But we're going to need all the support we can get for this one. I know Lincoln Christian's not going to travel very well. They won't have very many fans. So we should be able to make it really, really loud for them when they're on offense and really root on these kids, during this game tonight.
All right, you know what? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into these district ball games and then get into the games that are in the district next to us because that's what's going to determine who and where we play next week. So we'll be right back. You're listening to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First, 96.7 KBEL. Let's see here.
Every life tells a story. At Allen's Monuments, they help families.
Yeah, I know the game that we got to pay attention. Huh?
Personalized monuments that stand the test of time. Located
Yeah, we're
East 1930 Road in Ringwood. Allen's Monuments is proud to serve families.
I know the Shakota Eufaula game, and then is there a game in that next district that we really need to keep an eye on? Probably Berry Hill and Cassia Hall. What do you think?
Berry Hill and Cassia will determine second place.
Okay.
When the Warriors hit the field
For that district over there.
and the right equipment to win the battle. But when it comes to your farm, the same rules apply.
Jane and Benita played last night.
Yeah.
I don't think that made none of that made a difference.
Yeah, Jay Benita played. I know in Cleveland played last night, so that's really not going to.
Yeah, I know it's just pretty much locked up second unless Berry Hill were to beat Cassia tonight, which is possible.
Yeah.
Fight for every yard, Lovewell fight for every customer with honesty, service, and hometown pride. Lovewell Farm Supplies, 301 South Indian Road in Idabel, bound to border football.
And welcome back to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First, 96.7 KBEL. Cornelius Neal here alongside Coach Kincaid. We're going to get into these district games tonight, and I know the main one we'll get to the main one to pay attention to here in just a moment. But scheduled tonight, you got Stigler at Holland Hall. Holland Hall has second place locked up in our district, so they're going to have more than likely have their senior night against Stigler. Stigler's gotten better throughout the year, so they may get a little bit of a challenge if they sleep a little bit. But also Muldrow at Locust Dome, pretty much same situation. My coach once said he's playing for pride. Both those teams are out of the playoff race. As in this next matchup will be the one to pay attention to, Shakota at Eufaula. That is a big rivalry game in that area. Those two schools are 10 miles apart. And as much as I hate to say it, Warrior Nation, we might have to root for the Ironheads tonight because a Eufaula win will put them in the playoffs in fourth, and Idabel will stay in third place in District 3A3. A Shakota win will move us down to fourth, and that will send us to the first place team in District 3A4, which I know we're not going to be afraid of anybody or whoever we play next week. Now, the District 3A4 games that are happening, Jay and Veneta played last night. Who won that one? Jay? Jay won that one. And then Inola at Cleveland. You have Berry Hill and Cassia Hall. Berry Hill and Cassia Hall will be the one to pay attention to tonight out of that district. And then also Verdigris at Sequoia Claremore. Their district standings right now, Cassia Hall's 1. Berry Hill is second, 5-1 overall, 72 overall, 62 different district points. And Inola is third. With the 5-1 record, and they're 7-2. And then after that, you got Verdigris, Sequoia Claremore, and Jay. That's the winner of whoever comes out fourth, they're going to have to make that trip over to Tulsa to take on Lincoln Christian. So we'll let you know how all that turns out. We'll definitely keep an eye on that throughout tonight's broadcast. And we'll talk about tomorrow morning. And then also games across the area. We're going to talk about that, and then we'll get Coach Kincaid out of here. Got Broken Bow making the trip north to Poto. Broken Bow wins, and I think if Broken Bow wins, and I want to say Ada has to beat Sallisaw. That puts Broken Bow as your district champs. I'm not sure if that Ada Sallisaw game is in Ada or in Sallisaw. Any clue of that? Also, Antlers at Spiro. Congratulations going out to Antlers. They clinched a playoff spot last week with their win, and then Hugo making the trip north to Prague. Both those teams are playing for fifth place. Pretty sure both teams will be getting ready for basketball season once this weekend. And then last night, Vian making a trip down to Bag to take on the Bulldogs. Vian won that one pretty handily. What was it, 45-13? I think was the final score. Valiant will get to play at home next week as they'll finish second in their district. Good luck to them moving forward. Good luck to Broken Bow moving forward. And that's pretty much your district and area games for this week. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get into the game day info and the forecast for tonight. Should have good football weather and a couple things to look ahead to tonight and into this weekend. So we'll be right back. You're listening to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First 96.7 KBEL. All right. I'll keep this on here. So you can't be in any kind of contact with the coaches during the game.
No. I'm going to talk with them at halftime.
Right. Yeah. Careful because, somebody's, you never know. We have some folks right here that might try and run off and tell it. So
yeah, we won't be we're gonna play it right, and I won't have any contact with them, talk with them, signal anything, play anything. I'm gonna let them do their job.
Exactly.
Hire them as coaches. They're good enough to do their job. So that's how we'll handle that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you get on back to class.
I wish I had, man.
See you out there tonight.
Yes, sir. See you guys, man.
I'll do one more.
Friday nights in Idabel mean one thing: Warrior football. And Idabel National Bank is proud to be your team. Whether you're grabbing a snack before kickoff, buying tickets online, or checking your balance after the big win, they've got the tools to keep your fans moving. With mobile banking, debit cards, and hometown service, you can count on. Idabel National Bank is there for every play of your life. Go Warriors! Member FDIC.
Welcome back to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First 96.7 KBEL. Cornelius Neal here in the studio, here live from First State Bank studio. Going to let you know about a couple things happening today and tomorrow. Here's your game day info and forecast. Tonight at Warrior Nation Stadium, the gates open at 5 o'clock. If you missed this interview, you can catch it on the KBL Sports, on the KBL page right now. It's live right now. And then you'll also be able to hear it again around 6:20 as you're heading to the stadium. You'll have pregame with myself and Lonnie Watson and who knows who else in the broadcast booth. Kickoff between the Warriors and the Lincoln Christian Bulldogs is at 7 o'clock. And in your forecast, it's brought to you by Pond Cellular. When coverage matters most, we're supposed to have clear skies. It'll be around 66 at kickoff. And, good football weather, maybe wear, some sleeves so you don't get cold up in the stands. Be sure and check out the concession stand. I think during this time of year, they'll have coffee and hot chocolate available. So, support the band parents in that concession stand. So a couple things to get into for this weekend and also today. Actually, today, let's start with here. Idabel 6th grade girls basketball team, they're going to be playing in the championship game of the Valiant tournament against Broken Bow, 5 o'clock over in Valiant. So if you're not doing anything, go check them out. Coach Watkins has a really good team over there. And then good luck to the Idabel cheerleaders. There'll be a game day regional competition that is over at Crossings Christian High School in the Oklahoma City Metro. And then finally, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, I know OU has a bye week. Come check out the Idabel youth football teams. They'll have their final home game of the regular season. They will host Atoka. That will start at 10 a.m. There will be a flag football game with the 6 and under teams at 10 a.m., then the 8 and under at 11 a.m., and then the 12 and under around noon. So you may hear this very same voice announcing at the youth football game tomorrow. Coach Galloway and Coach Pondexter and all of them, they have a really good team, good group of kids, especially that 8 and under team. So if you're not doing anything, go check them out. If nothing else, come out to the game tonight. Be sure and tune back in tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. And we'll know this is where we're going next week. You know, save some gas money, get your bike pass ready, and definitely going to be heading north somewhere in the Tulsa metro area. We'll know all that tomorrow. But with that being said, hey, thanks for tuning in to K-Bell Game Day. And we'll talk to you tomorrow morning right here on Idabel's First 96.7 KBEL.